This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to The Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I'm one of your hosts, Tom.
And I'm Tim.
Tim, how are you doing this week?
Tom, I just ate a big veggie burger and I want to take a nap.
I did too. Tim, we just recorded another podcast, a guest, which we're guests.
We did a guest spot, a classic guest spot on another pod.
We won't talk about it because it's not going to be out for a little bit, but
it was great.
It was understandably.
Man, you can hear us as guests of the pod.
Yeah. You think we're good on this podcast? Wait till you hear us on other podcasts. I mean, we've been on other podcasts before, and usually the reaction's mixed.
Yeah.
Mixed at best. But then, we needed to refuel the old podcast tanks. That's what we call our stomachs.
Mm-hmm.
Before,
even when we're not on non-record days.
No, I say it sometimes at restaurants, and they're very confused. And they're like, sir, you can't podcast in here.
I say it at the doctor's office when he asks about like digestion stuff.
Like, are you having any problems? Yeah, I'm having problems with the old podcast tank lately, actually. He's like, huh? What does that mean?
Hearing some rumbling from the old podcast tank.
Yeah, and then he's like, oh, flatulence problems?
And I say, doctor, please.
Yeah,
enough.
You're supposed to be a professional.
Yeah. Disgusting.
But
Take
yeah.
that, talk to the bathroom. Take that, talk to the gutter.
Yeah, well, you know what? Your doctor could say, take this cup to the bathroom and pee in it.
Yeah, he always does, too.
And then come back. Don't
they
you
drink
hate that? No, you can't drink that.
No, do they drink that? Is that what happens? The doctor's just a freak?
Yeah, you can't drink it because they've got to drink it, so they know what's wrong with you. Although, I don't even know what the hell urine tests tell them. Does it only tell them if, like, something's real bad?
I think it just measures the levels of things.
What things?
The things in
See,
your body.
that's what I'm saying.
Well, that's why I'm not a freaking doctor,
I know
Tom.
it measures the levels of things, but I'm saying, like, is it something where they can, like, take a little lick of it and be like, oh, you should be, like, eating more vegetables? Or is it just...
I think they can see, like, the lipid content or something.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's probably more blood.
Yeah.
I don't know. If there's anything in there, like, oh, there's an old car tire in here.
There's a bunch of, like, little pieces of dirt in this. You didn't drop this before you brought it in. Don't you hate, though, when you have to go do that and then you have to, like, bring it and give it to, somebody who's not a doctor?
Yeah.
The same person that... No, usually it's like just the receptionist. It's like, well, this person normally answers the phone, but also they have to like take vials of piss every day.
Well, also they normally answer the phone and they normally collect the piss too. Like it's not like you're the one guy that's like, this guy again. Now I'm gonna have to see some piss.
Yeah, but do you think some of those people, they were like, yeah, we see somebody answer the phones and they tell them like also.
Unless you're catching them on their first day. Oh, you don't want to drive them away?
Well, yeah, you don't want to put an ad in the paper saying we need wanted somebody to work at the doctor's office to accept vials of piss when the doctor's busy.
I mean, maybe they do want to put that in the newspaper.
Do you, after you pee in the little cup, and nowadays at least they've got caps on them, which is nice. But do you run that under cold water so your pee is not so warm?
I'll tell you what I do. I just put water in the cup.
and they're just like, wow, you're very well hydrated. Yeah.
Oh, I got news for you. I am very well hydrated.
I know. You're always bragging about how well hydrated you are.
You should see how light my urine is.
Well, I'd love to, Tim.
I'll invite you into the bathroom.
You don't have to invite me. Just pee in one of my cups and bring it out.
All right.
How are you doing this week? Did I ask you that?
Yeah, I said I ate a big
I
burger. And then
did
you were going
too.
to tell the story. Oh, no, we did refill our podcast tanks.
Yes, our podcast tanks are now full. We're ready to go. Tim, I've been watching this Netflix series about heists called Heist.
Heist? Singular heist?
Heist is what it's called, but it's about heists.
Multiple heists.
Multiple heists.
Okay.
And let me tell you, so there are 6 episodes, but each
Ocean's 11.
No.
Ocean's 12.
But there's
Ocean's 13.
two episodes to a heist. So each heist is like a 2-parter. So they're telling you 6 episodes telling you about 3 different heists.
Yeah.
The first heist is so good. The first heist is like Bonnie and Clyde situation, a couple in love. The man is much older than the woman, and like he's manipulating her. But manipulating her to great effect because
to an impressive effect, this manipulation.
So he convinces her to get a job as a Brinks truck driver.
Mm-hmm.
And according to like her former coworkers,
I get mad at the Brinks truck when I see it
because you're like, oh, you don't deserve all that money.
You get to like park on the sidewalk sometimes.
All right. Do you want to park on the sidewalk?
Yeah, don't you?
No, somebody will walk into my car and then sue me.
Not if you're a Brinks truck.
That's true.
They're immune from any legal repercussions.
So they convinces his girlfriend to get a job as a driver in Las Vegas. Where are you laughing at?
You're just describing a Netflix TV show.
Well, I gotta set everything up.
Okay.
So convinces her to get a job. Las Vegas, so they're picking up from the casinos. They figure out like when the right time to like when the truck has like maximum money in it, maximum cash.
Mm-hmm.
And also this one route where it's like, okay, I drop the guys off here. They have to go empty or fill like 6 different ATMs in the casino. Did you say this was
in Las Vegas? Okay.
Yeah.
They're going to a casino. Okay.
But like,
I was going to say that if there's no casino element to this heist, I'm going to be really disappointed.
But so it's the ATMs, but you got to figure like, a Vegas casino ATM must be,
hundreds of dollars.
More even, I think.
$1,000.
But also that wasn't the target. That's just what these guys were off doing. And it was like, it takes them like an hour to do that. And then I got to go pick them up on the other side of the casino. And I've already like forgotten that a few times. So they're used to me not being there and then being like, oh, she forgot to come. We got to go trudge back to the other place. So basically they figure out like, if as soon as they get in the casino, you take off, we've got like a solid hour before anyone realizes something's wrong. And now they've got like a place to swap the cars. And then they take that car to another place. No, they take that car to the airport where she's wearing a disguise as an old lady, and they get on a private plane to like St. Louis. They like get a different car in St. Louis, drive that to Atlanta.
They have money with them at this point?
Yeah.
The money from the truck?
They do. Yes.
I think you left out the part where they pull the heist.
No. Well, they didn't have to like, they didn't need guns or anything, but
they just took it out of the truck.
They used to get out of the truck, but I forgot part of it was also that they put it all in boxes and mailed it. Just mailed it away. Well, not away to like somewhere else.
To an agreed upon place.
Yeah. So they just like swapped like identities and cities and vehicles like 6 different times until they eventually got to France, where they knew they could not be extradited.
Mm-hmm.
And basically they just like, there were like relationship problems and they broke up. But like this woman was living in, she then moved to England on a fake passport and basically like just started a life, like got married, had kids, but always had this like, this passport's good for 10 years and I can't get it renewed because this is like a dead woman's identity I've stolen. Mm-hmm. So she eventually like turns herself in. But basically, it's 2 people that got away with it, pulled off like a really good heist, really smart heist.
Okay.
Second one.
No, you're just going to describe another.
Well, listen.
Is there a point to all of this?
Yes. The second one is, I forget why money was being moved, but like somebody realizes just like another good heist situation. And the only thing that gets screwed up is that they kind of get too many guys involved.
And
That's
always the case.
Yeah.
I know a guy once got 11 guys involved in a heist.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, I see. It's Danny Ocean. That's who you're thinking of.
Yeah.
And he got 10 guys involved in the heist. He was one of them.
Yeah.
Or you're just thinking of Ocean's 12.
Yeah.
So basically that's what screws it up, that like this one guy is just kind of, all of them agree. All of them do a real good job hiding their money. This one guy puts it in pipes and buries it.
Did you tell me about this already? I think you did.
Maybe.
You've been talking about putting money in pipes and burying it a lot lately.
But basically, they did eventually get caught because this one moron was the only one like living outside.
Moron, you pulled off one more heist than you have.
No, because the guy screwed up during the heist too. Like he didn't drive the car where he was supposed to.
Okay.
But basically, like they had all agreed, like, and we're not going to live like we just pulled off a heist for like years. But this guy immediately was like, I'm going to buy a gold chain and like a jet ski and all this crazy stuff. So they got caught, but they all like did, some jail time. But then when they're like, all right, we only recovered like one of the $10 million, where's the rest? Oh, we spent it. You spent all the money? Yeah, we spent it all. On what? Stuff that isn't around anymore. So basically, it's like these guys kind of got away with it. They've still got this money hidden somewhere.
Right.
Then the last one.
Jesus, really?
Listen to this, though. It's a bourbon heist. It's these guys that work for a bourbon company down in Tennessee.
Right.
And all this one is a bunch of morons stealing from work. It's all these guys that work in the warehouse and basically realizing like the warehouse has like bad security and that some of this liquor, this Pappy Van Winkle, has started like skyrocketing in price. So they just start stealing it from where they work and then selling it to like, high rollers or whatever. Like word gets out amongst people like, oh, this is the guy you call. He's got this stuff. Because not only was it expensive, it was hard to find, even if you were willing to pay for it. But, these guys had it. Just took like absolutely no precautions, like didn't assume they would ever get caught. So like once they get caught, like the whole thing just goes down. And then this guy is so mad when he's talking about like the cops and also, he'd been working for this company for 26 years, and at no point does he show any remorse about like, you know what, I had worked for them for 26 years, and like he had no beef with them. He was like, this is a great job. I got promoted a bunch. I was making good money. I was able to like settle down, start a family, have everything I wanted. And then he just started stealing from them. And you know what they were doing with all this money? These guys, these were the weirdest men I've ever seen a TV show about. The reason why the one guy started stealing was because he was in a softball league with all these guys, and his wife was like, you're spending too much time playing softball. You got to stop. And he stopped. But then he was like, but I've got this idea for a heist. Let me get all these guys involved. These guys were so into softball. They were doing like massive amounts of steroids.
For softball?
For a softball league.
I mean, these guys are just a bunch of weirds.
Exactly. And I was thinking like, at what point does like, a significant other go like, you got to quit softball. It's taking up too much of your life. It seemed like
the alternative is like, I'm going to start pulling heists.
Well, he didn't tell her that.
Oh.
I think he didn't tell her that because when he got carried away, he wanted to be like, well, you told me to stop playing softball. It's your fault. But then they got caught up like, in like a steroid ring because of that. But it's like, nah, they weren't really selling steroids. They were all just doing steroids to be better at softball. And they're like,
and to like look cooler.
Yeah, I guess that is part of it.
Big beefcake. Everybody loves you.
Yeah, but I mean, these were all like middle-aged men.
Yeah, that's the perfect time.
Yeah, just doing a lot of steroids and stealing liquor with no plan. It was the worst Netflix series I watched because of that. Because the heist just got progressively worse.
You just spent 20 minutes describing 3 episodes of a show just to be like, and I didn't like it.
I didn't like it by the end, but in the beginning, the first 2 episodes were so good. And I was like, this is what I want. I want to watch some shows about some successful heists. And then by the end, it was like, have you ever heard of this heist? Guy stealing from work. It's like, yeah, I've heard of that. That happens all the time.
Do you think they were like the guys who created the show were like, all right, here we go. We're going to go in and pitch 4 killer episodes. Yeah. And then they were just like
sounds great,
the
boys.
secretary came
6.
out and was just like, they're ready to talk to you. Mr. Netflix is ready to talk to you about your 6-episode heist series. And they were like, 6 episodes? Sure.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, like, when I worked at a store, there were like employees that stole with like better heists than these guys.
Eventually they'll make a freaking TV show about that. They're running out of things to make TV shows about.
Yeah. They shouldn't make more of this. So I just wanted to see more about this first heist.
Tom, so why'd you spend all this time just describing the TV show?
Because I want to warn other people. I'm saving them 6 hours. Sure, you have to listen to me for 20 minutes, but I'm saving you 6 hours.
That's 3 weeks.
Uh-huh.
There's something that I really wanted to talk about up top.
Yeah?
Something that I'm angry about.
Okay.
Something that I'm passionate about. And you're always like, no, I got something to talk about.
Yeah.
And you waste all this time talking about and now I don't have time to talk about it.
Well, it sounds like you're not as passionate as I am.
I'm so passionate about this, and I'm going to try again next week, but...
Well, now you're setting the bar. Again. Now it's like, well, let's see if what Tim has to talk about is more interesting.
It's great. Oh, it's so interesting.
Than Tom talking about a TV show. Let's just see. This should be fun.
It's going to make people angry.
Uh-huh.
It's going to raise a lot of questions. People are going to be like, I never... yeah, why is this the case?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to spur people to action. They're going to be like, well, we need to do something about it. And it's important work.
Can't be that important.
Why?
Because you're not passionate. You're not passionate about it like I am about this.
You strung me along here. You said you had a point, and your point was just like this thing I just described was bad.
Yeah. By the end of it, it wasn't that good. Tim, it's bus week here at the Complete Guide to Everything.
Oh yeah, I've been waiting for bus week for years.
We've done trains, right?
Yeah, we've done trains. Tom, I've ridden in trains before.
Yeah, we've done trains, airplanes, and cars.
Yeah.
Maybe we've even done buses before. But Tim, today was a landmark day. Today was the first day in, what now? Almost a year and a half, I guess, since I've taken the bus somewhere. And it reminded me of the experience of taking the bus, which, let me tell you, New York City, not a bad experience. Pretty good.
Yeah, I like the bus.
Yeah.
I don't like the bus because I don't like the logistics of getting somewhere in any, like...
Yeah.
Although, I will
They've made it better on the new buses.
And I will say, I do like, I booked a nice overnight train trip one time, and that was lovely. But other than that, transporting myself and my loved ones from one place to another... I'd rather do without it.
What? Go somewhere? Or you'd rather transport them only by bus?
I'd like to figure out a way to get people from myself primarily, from one place to another without the travel time or the logistics.
So you're talking about teleportation or portal, something like that.
Something like that. I don't know.
Faster than light travel.
Yeah, I'm not a scientist. I'm not here to work out.
You're not a
details.
scientist, but you are working diligently to try and solve this problem of teleportation.
I'm working diligently in that, like, I want it to happen. I'm trying to manifest it. I'm using the secret.
Okay.
I'm putting on a vision board a picture of one place and another place.
And then just like quickly shifting your head from place to place. Yeah. Like, this is how I want it to happen.
Yeah.
They do. That's like one of those things you see every few years. That's like, oh, IBM's successfully teleported, and then you're like, whoa, big news. And then it's like a single photon.
Yeah,
he teleported from one side of the lab to the other. And then sometimes later it's like, if you ever follow up on that stuff, it's like, it turns out it was a misreading of the instruments and they did not. But yeah, no successful teleportations that we're aware of.
I mean,
but the way they try and do teleportation, like the IBMs of the world and stuff, it's like, look, if you're going to teleport a human that way, they're going to end up a pile of mush on the other side because you're just like slicing them up into atoms.
Well, they got to get, they'll figure that out within my lifetime, I'm sure.
But also, whenever they describe like the way they're trying to do teleportation, it's like, hey, that sounds pretty neat. But you know what else you could do with like the same thing you're describing is just have like an infinite copy machine, which is more interesting, I would argue, than teleportation. If it's just like, oh, this thing's programmed, it can just make anything.
Yeah.
Like they had that on Star Trek. I forget what it was called, but they had like a little box on the Next Generation, and because that's the one Patrick Stewart would say, like tea, Earl Grey, hot. And then it would come out. And it's like, you can order anything. And you're going to order, you could be like a hot fudge sundae, hot. Cold
the
for the
fudge
ice
hot,
cream.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's why. Maybe it's like the computer's going to spit out hot ice cream and cold fudge.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I guess that would be nice.
But anyway, here's what we're stuck with in 2021, which is the bus.
The bus. Public transportation.
Now, I had taken the bus for the first time, New York City bus, and there were two big improvements that I saw since last time.
Improvement number one.
And I'm telling you, I think this Andrew Cuomo is finally doing a good job in New York.
Oh, good. It's nice to see. Things are finally turning around.
Yeah, so hopefully he's got more bright ideas
hopefully
like
this is the first of many successes for him.
Yeah. The first one, I did not have a Metro card, and now that's not a big deal on the subway because you can just buy a Metro card at any subway station. Sometimes you gotta go to the other side of the street. That's a real pain in the butt.
Yeah.
But normally, not a big deal. There's a machine there all the time. You stick a credit card in, bada bing, bada boom. You got a Metro card. Not the case on the bus. The bus, you got to have a Metro card or exact change.
Right.
Is it only quarters that they take? They don't take bills, right?
I don't know how it works. I've never ever paid with exact change.
I have paid with exact change.
Just quarters though.
Just quarters to be safe because like I know it will take quarters.
Yeah.
But it's still like a pain because it's still like clunk, 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 and the people behind you are like, "Hey, I got
enough with the clunking up there.
I gotta get to Wall Street before the opening bell."
Nobody who's going to Wall Street is taking the bus.
Well, maybe they had a bad day. Maybe they said bye, bye, bye when it should have been sell, 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 and now they gotta take the bus to Wall Street. But now they've got the tap to pay. So you can just tap your credit card or your phone and go on the bus.
Tom, I did that for the first time in the subway today.
Oh, okay.
Those Omni readers.
Mm-hmm.
Tom, that's the greatest thing. Like, it doesn't work for unlimited cards or like,
it's
if you
just
buy
to pay
a monthly
for a single
pass.
ride.
But like, hey, there's a goddamn pandemic on. I'm rarely going on the subway. It's great. I set this thing up.
Breeze right through like you own
I left
the
my
place.
wallet at home.
Well, that's probably a bad idea. You should take your
and
wallet
my
with.
keys.
Well, it won't solve the key
I didn't wear
problem.
any underwear either.
I
I was traveling really light.
I mean, that's more of a you problem, not wearing underwear.
I wouldn't say it's a problem.
So it was great. They've had them on the subways for a little bit. Only in certain rolling out anything in the city takes forever.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't realize that they had rolled this out. It was great.
Great. Innovation number one. I think we're agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Happy about the tap.
Yeah. Second innovation. Now they've got signs that tell you which stops are coming up. Like, digital signs up top.
Oh, yeah.
Like a little TV screen.
A little you love a TV screen.
Exactly. I mean, to be honest, after a while, it did get boring watching it because, they weren't putting on
Put on Judge Judy. What time is it? 3:30.
Yeah.
Put on Judge Judy already.
Put on Mr. Ed. And they're like, Mr. Ed hasn't been on the air in, I don't know, 60 years. So it just tells you the upcoming stops, but that's always a problem. I mean, it's better when you have a phone because then you can see with the GPS where you are. But it'd be nice if you didn't have to do that constantly because like
let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Did you need that on the bus today?
Yes. I know I was going somewhere that's like familiar that I've taken the bus to before, but I still, not only that, when the bus stopped, like there was a big, like an 18-wheeler where the bus station was. So the bus just had to like stop in the middle of the street. And then I go to get out the back door and the back door wouldn't open.
Oh, no.
I don't know if they like changed that or something, but I'm just like bouncing off the back door. And then the guy closes the front door. So then I'm running down the aisle of the bus going, no, just wait, sir, wait. And I'm like, can I get off the bus? I have to get off.
Oh, you were the bus dunce in this.
Exactly.
The bus is like, up.
Yeah.
And if you're on the bus and you don't know who the bus dunce is, guess what?
That would explain.
It's you.
I heard as the bus was pulling away, everybody inside chanting something, but all I could hear was bus storm, bus storm, bus storm. And now it's very clear they were cheering bus stunts.
Yeah. About you.
About me. But hey, I got off the bus and I'm still here today. So how bad could it have really been?
And also, like, the stops are very close together. If the bus would have dropped you off 2 blocks up.
Yeah, but it was so hot today, Tim. If I had to walk in that heat another 2 blocks, who knows what could have happened?
Can I tell you something? I don't doubt that it's hot out.
Uh-huh.
I think something might be happening to me.
Okay.
Because I've been going outside. Like yesterday and today, where it's like, oh, so hot.
Yeah.
Hasn't seemed hot to me.
Oh, no.
You're right. It's a problem, right?
Yeah, you might be coming down.
I was afraid you would think I was bragging.
Oh, yeah, no, you might be coming down with like reverse Mr. Freeze disease.
Well, now, what's Mr. Freeze disease?
Mr. Freeze, I forget. His wife had a disease, and he froze his wife so he could work on a cure.
Right.
Like when they froze Mr. Burns, so they could figure out the cure for, what was it, 37 stab wounds in the back?
Yeah. Or when they froze Ted Williams' head to one day reanimate it.
Yeah. So Mr. Freeze froze his wife, Nora.
Nora Freeze.
Nora Freeze. Freeze, Fries. So actually fries,
yeah.
but they're German, I guess, or German descent, so it's Freeze. But I mean, also, you gotta admit, it works great when the guy becomes an ice villain.
Yeah. He could have become a French fries villain, though.
That's true. There is Captain Condiment, or the Condiment King.
Really?
Yeah, that's a Batman villain. Not like a very serious one, but who knows? I mean, look at what happened with the Joker. Now he's the most serious character there's ever been.
Well, I feel like he often asks, why so serious?
Right. Well, and you could turn it right back around and say,
is he looking in a mirror when he says that?
No, he's talking to you, but guess what? He's talking out of a glass house because he should talk. He's so serious.
I've long been wanting to say this. The Joker's a hypocrite.
Don't let him hear you say that, Tim.
He's asking me why I'm so serious.
Even Batman himself wouldn't accuse the Joker of being a hypocrite because he knows what kind of rampage would follow. Make the people of Gotham pay for that. So Mr. Freeze was, working on his wife. And I think like the freeze technology went wrong and hit him. And then he has to be cold. He has to be in a suit all the time to keep him cold. Maybe you've got the reverse. You've got Mr. Heat disease. And come fall, you're going to have to be in like a heat suit to keep you hot.
Oh, I'll just wear one of those like reflective blankets that...
Oh, you'll need more than that, Tim.
How do you know? Maybe
it's
a mild case.
I'm looking at the technology Mr. Freeze needs to keep him alive. And it keeps him cold, very cold. It's not something where it's like, oh, maybe if Mr. Freeze, had like one of those mister bottles, that he could spray and it has a fan on it, that would be enough to keep him cool. No. So just like that, you having a reflective blanket wouldn't be enough to keep you as
and a nice
Mr.
winter
Heat.
coat.
No, Tim, maybe if it was like already hot, but not super hot. So like the same way if Mr. Freeze is in like a frozen jail cell, he doesn't need to be in his suit.
Right.
So maybe if it's like, it's like an unseasonably warm spring day, Tim can get by with just being wrapped in a reflective blanket wearing a winter coat.
I'll take it. Tom, back to buses, though.
Yeah. Well, look, Tim, buses, the MTA, Metro Transit Authority buses, they're not the only bus game in town. Hell, they're not the only bus game in the world.
Should have said it the other way, but...
I guess if they weren't the only one in town, it's kind of implied they're also not the only one in the world. But maybe the town I'm talking about is not of this world.
How was your bus ride today?
It was
uneventful?
Good. Yeah, uneventful.
Did it smell weird? Were people masked up?
Yeah, everybody was masked up. The bus was not very crowded. The bus was clean. The ride was smooth. I liked it.
I think all the seats should be flat and not curved to accommodate your butt.
Yeah.
Because liquid can accumulate in there.
But they have like holes so the liquid falls out.
There's holes in the seat?
This might be a new...
innovation number 3, huh?
Yeah, holes in the seat. But Tim, these aren't necessarily. I want to talk about a few different types of buses.
Okay, sorry.
First off, the first bus most of us ride, a school bus, a big yellow school bus. Although we didn't, our school district was like pretty small, so the only people I had to take buses lived at the beach.
Bullshit, Tom. I took a bus to school.
You took a bus to the school? You could see the school from your house.
No, you could see the school from your house because you live near the school. I lived a couple miles away from the school.
A couple of miles? You took a bus in grade school?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That's not a couple of miles. It's maybe a mile and a half.
Yeah, I was like 7 years old.
I don't know. It was one turn, 2 turns.
Tom, you live down the street from the school. I understand. It was a 5-minute walk.
Same number of turns that I had to make.
The thing that really bummed me out. Well, it scared me a lot. Like they sent us a bus pass. There were several bus lines. I'm surprised you didn't know about this, but I guess you live near the school.
No, I did. Now I think about it.
There's a number of bus routes. And they were
I'm
named
mostly
for
thinking
colors.
about like high school. I guess by high school they only had the beach bus.
They were named for colors. So there was the green bus, there's the blue bus. That's what I had, the pink bus. And I was a little worried because I was like, second grade.
There's the girl bus.
Yeah, and imagine my relief when a yellow school bus pulled up with just a piece of pink construction paper taped into the front window to signify this was the pink bus.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was just going to be a big pink bus. And like, I was like relieved because I was like, oh no, I'm going to show up in this pink bus and everybody's going to be like, oh, girl. Because it was 1988 and we all had regressive views then. And
you thought... So did you go up to them like there appears to have been some kind of administrative screw up? I'm a boy. I'm not supposed to be on the pink bus.
My parents wouldn't let me. But then the yellow bus came and I was like, oh, cool. But then I was like, it would have been cool if all these buses were painted different colors.
Yeah, that would have been cool. It would have been fun.
Yeah.
School buses. Have school buses gotten any better or are they still the same?
What do you mean?
I'm saying as far as like, just
safety?
Just having like the worst seats imaginable and like absolutely no suspension.
I bet they've gotten better with suspension.
Yeah. I know they got like seatbelts by the time we were out of school, but for a long time they didn't have seatbelts.
There were seatbelts you just never rode the bus. There was one field trip.
Yeah, because I would take them on field trips.
There was one field trip like right after the advent of right after they put seatbelts in the seats. and none of us were wearing them, and none of the people on, like, I think I was in 5th grade, and none of the chaperones or the teachers were that told us to buckle the seatbelts. And so we were just like whipping them around, and I was whipping. They were metal. And I hit this one
heavy.
kid in the back, and then he turned around and just whipped me right in the eye with the metal piece, and it gave me a black eye. And the teacher was like, "Why were you guys doing that?" And I was like, "Why didn't you just tell us to put the seatbelts on?"
You have nobody to blame but yourself, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember the school buses getting seatbelts, but like no instruction as to whether or not we needed to use them. And like, they didn't have seatbelts because, like, if you get into a bus accident, you're either going to be fine or a seatbelt's not going to help you, right? That's kind of the impression I got.
I don't know that that's true at all.
I think for the most part,
because like little kids on the bus,
that's
the bus
true.
Stopped short. Like a kid in 2nd grade, like, could just like go fly, and like there might not even be an accident. Just like stopping short.
Yeah,
the kids could just like bounce off the walls.
That's true. I do remember.
They're strapped down. That's not going to happen.
I do remember being on the bus and times where the bus driver stopped short, and like, there is kind of a crazy, like, you would go flying.
The bus was mayhem. Like, you could get up and walk around, work the crowd a little bit.
Oh yeah. You could, like, if you stood in the aisle for too long, you would get yelled at, but you could like get up and move around pretty freely. I feel like. Did you like to sit on? I would like to sit on, if I was being adventurous, one of the seats over one of the back tires, because then when that hit a bump, you'd actually like you'd hit the ceiling.
I always thought that was cool, but also like there was no leg room, literally no leg room whatsoever.
Yeah,
like,
it was like a weird
big
seat.
Half circle came out.
Yeah,
it was the wheel well.
Yeah, learn something new every day. Did you know that they like school buses nowadays, they tint the windows so that kids can't, like, moon other cars and stuff? It's smart, right? That makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean, that was
also like creepazoids can't look in and be like, look at all these kids in one place.
Yeah, I think it was more the other way around.
To protect society from kids.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, like, especially when I was like in high school and we would have to take buses to like games and practice and stuff for sports. Like, then you're with like a bunch of other boys. You're at like peak shittiness. And you're just like, oh, this guy looks like he's having an awful day behind us. I'm going to show him my butt to see how that fancies him. I don't know. I was trying to think of a different word. How that suits him, maybe.
Yeah.
And usually it wouldn't at all.
I don't want to see a butt.
No, you don't want to see a boy's butt on when maybe the boss just chewed you out at work, and now you gotta.
Now I'm seeing a young boy's butt.
Well, I didn't think today could get any worse. Have you ever taken a Greyhound bus?
I have taken a Greyhound bus. Have I? Yeah.
Or Peter Pan bus.
Yeah, one of those. I can't think of the exact scenario.
I believe they're owned by the same company now, and like that they have been for a long time.
That's the thing. Like everything in every industry is owned by one company secretly, right?
So for people that don't know, like Greyhound is pretty much like the only like national commercial bus company. Like if you want to if just as a regular person, you want to buy a ticket to go somewhere and you want to travel there via bus, Greyhound is if you want to travel somewhere outside of like your metro area, that's how you got to do it.
Right.
And it's
what kind of idiot do you think is listening to
I don't know.
It's like, oh, you can't take a New York City bus to California.
Well, I just don't want people saying when I'm like, this is the only bus company. Somebody be like, you were just talking about the other bus company, you idiot. Also, I'm living in Chicago. I take this bus. What are you talking about? So I want to be clear.
If you live in Chicago, we don't care about your buses.
Unless we got to take them somewhere.
Yeah. Did we take the bus when we did a show?
No, we took the cab.
Oh, yeah. We took lifts.
Yeah, like fancy boys.
Yeah.
The Greyhound is by far the worst way to travel, right?
I think so.
Yeah. I used to do it occasionally when I went to school in Maryland. So I'd have to take the bus from either DC or Baltimore to the Port Authority here in New York City.
Yikes.
And I mean, yeah, the Port Authority in New York City is like one of the worst places in the city. It's just like gross and scummy, and you're just a place you don't want to be.
Right. Unless you're gross and scummy.
Yeah.
Then you might like it there.
Yeah, it might be your new favorite place. But
hey, check it out if you're gross and scummy.
But
I
just remember having to take the Greyhound, and it, like, I don't know, the seats were always bad. There was always at least somebody who like smelled on the bus, or who, you know, was obviously not having a good time and was like acting out either by, you know, like talking real loud or like crying the whole trip.
Yeah, but it's a cost-effective way to travel long distances.
The problem is that for the reason why I only did a few times was that inexplicably it was like $9 more to fly from Baltimore to New York than to take the bus. So,
okay.
Yeah, you can't beat that. Although the bus, you can just walk right on the bus.
Yeah, less so these days.
Yeah?
They make like dogs sniff your things and stuff. Privates.
I don't think so. I don't think there's a lot of security on buses.
A dog that needs to
no, there's not a dog. Like a bomb sniffing dog is what you're implying?
Yeah, sometimes.
I don't think so. Maybe if you're taking it over the border, they're going to have dogs sniff, but otherwise, I don't think that they're really that concerned about somebody blowing up a bus. Tom. Well, was it right after 9/11?
It was post 9/11.
It was September 12th, 2001. You were like, I gotta get out of here fast.
Yeah. We took a bus together, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
A Greyhound bus to Atlantic City for our friend Paul's bachelor party. And I just remember being in the Port Authority, walking to that bus, just thinking, I never want to be in this building ever again.
Well, and that was also a bad, like, well, at least once we're out of the Port Authority, we'll sit on this bus for 3 hours and then be in Atlantic City, the only place more depressing than the Port Authority. But yeah, for places, I mean, that's the problem. Our country has a dilapidated rail system. So if you don't want to fly, or you can't afford to fly, or you have to travel last minute, or there just aren't flights going from where you want to go to where you are, you got to take the bus. So like for Atlantic City, from New York City, you got to either drive or take the bus. There's not like a reasonable way to get there via train or even airplane.
I take a helicopter sometimes.
Well, there is, yeah.
And I landed on the top of, I can't think of one, the Hard Rock Cafe.
I feel like if you took a helicopter to Atlantic City, like as it landed, it would be like World War Z or something, where like everybody would just be like, look, a helicopter, let's get him. He's probably got riches. Let's steal from him.
What do you think Atlantic City's like?
Atlantic City is just like it's full of zombies, from what I remember. Just a very scary place. From World War Z.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I feel like if you're like, not that you would be attacked, but like if you took a helicopter to Atlantic City, if you were like splashing out money in Atlantic City, everybody would be like, what are you doing? Why? This isn't the place to do that. To like show off and be fancy. Like go to Vegas and do that. Maybe people will I
don't think you've been to the high roller tables in Atlantic City like I have.
Yeah, you've been to the high. What do you think? I mean,
You know what I do? I put on dark sunglasses and put AirPods in.
Yeah.
And I go to the high roller Texas Hold'em tables.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. And I pull my hat down real low so people can't get a sense of what I'm thinking.
And then you push all your money in and you say, put it all on black.
No. I'm playing poker in this scenario, Tom.
Yeah. And you go, put it all on black.
The clubs and spades. Those
Put
cards,
it all on clubs. Yeah. Clubs and spades. That's where, split up 50-50 clubs and spades. Yeah. And then let her rip and let me know what happens.
I can't see with these sunglasses on. I can't distinguish between.
I have to read lips. I can't hear you with these AirPods in. Tim, have you ever been on a party bus?
I don't believe I have.
Huh. Wow. No surprise.
Why? Because I don't like the party?
Because you're dull.
Yeah, party buses are usually known for...
If you were on the party bus, they'd be like, hey, there's a party bus, not a dull bus.
Who's the party pooper?
Yeah. Hey, we didn't order a party pooper. Get out of here. And they'd push you up through the hatch on top that they have.
And then, you know what? Then they'd regret it, or they'd regret calling me a party pooper, because then they'd see how cool I looked surfing the bus.
Yeah, they'd be like, oh my God, that party pooper surfing the bus.
Turns out he wasn't a party pooper at all. He was king partier all along.
Yeah, and they'd be like, hey man, we're sorry about that when you come back inside. And you can say, no thanks, man, hang 10. And then you grab onto a lamp post.
Yeah, and I'll do like a couple little flips
woo,
on it.
Woo,
yeah.
woo, woo, woo,
Yeah.
woo. And then land into a convertible Corvette that a hot babe is driving right behind.
Yeah.
You land in the passenger seat and you go, oh, hello, you going my way?
And she'll go, and how?
Right. And then those fucking idiots on the party bus.
Yeah, nice job, losers. You could have hung out with the coolest partier of all.
Yeah.
But guess what? I'm on my way to Vegas. Have fun in Atlantic City.
But then guess what? You really were the party pooper, because now you've ruined the party. Because now they've gotten a taste of the good life. They haven't even gotten a taste of it. They've just seen it and they dismissed it, and now they're paying the price.
And I've defecated in the bathroom on the party bus.
Yeah, and they
clogged the toilet.
They don't. Oh, that's the other bad thing about the Greyhound bus, is that there is a bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
However,
there's an unwritten rule that nobody follows.
You got to tell everybody on the Greyhound bus it's a unwritten rule, because it hasn't been word of mouth passed to them. You can pee in it, which is fine, but also like at your own peril, at least as a boy. I mean, as a girl too, because if you're sitting on it, you don't want to sit on that toilet either.
Yeah.
But if you're standing up to pee, it's going all over the place, because you're standing in a car at the end of the day.
Well, it's a bus, but I understand your point.
You're standing in. At the end of the day, what's a bus but a very long car?
What is a bus but a car?
I mean, it's closer to a car than it is anything else.
Truck?
I guess, but
truck is big. I consider a car isn't as big.
I consider trucks to be cars as well, though.
So buses and trucks are cars.
I'm saying it's close. A bus is closer to being a car than it is a train or an airplane.
Okay. I don't know. I think it might be closer. It has things in common with a train.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that, you idiot.
It transports a lot of people at once.
In one car at a time. You ever see a train that's only got one car going up and down the track?
Yeah, garbage car.
Yeah, the garbage car does do it. But you can't sit in there. Or maybe you can. Maybe the Greyhound bus is the garbage car, and they just let people buy tickets.
Yeah. So that was part of their marketing campaign. Don't you want to travel the world in the garbage car?
I'm
Greyhound
always tempted
buses.
to jump on the garbage car when it's going down the subway, right?
Yeah, I mean, in that way that, like, when you're on top of a tall building and you're like, I could jump off this.
No, it's in a less, because if you're at the top of a tall building and you're like, I could jump off, you're like, and I would die. But the garbage train, sometimes the garbage train comes through late at night when you're waiting for
On
the
the
subway.
There's a car that's essentially just a dumpster that goes to the station.
Yeah, that they put, the garbage from the garbage cans onto that car, and that car, I don't know, presumably eventually goes to a dump. I have no idea what happens to that garbage.
Right.
I think they might just slowly dump it along the tracks. But normally it comes by. When it comes by, you've already been waiting for the train for like 20 minutes.
Because it only comes by like late at night.
Late at night when the subways are few, and you're like, there's a chance. I don't know how good of a chance, but like if I jump off a building, there's no chance I'm going to survive. But if I jump on this garbage train, I'm probably not going to like fall off and die. Most likely what's going to happen is somebody's going to stop and go, "Hey, idiot, get off the garbage train." But
no, they might arrest you.
They might arrest you, but they'd have to wait for the cops to come. I think you can get out of there in time.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, there's only one way to find
subway
out.
Stations, there's 5 to 7 cops
Standing
around
nowadays,
looking at
I
their
guess.
phones.
Yeah.
I guess if you could get them to like look up from Candy Crush.
Yeah. Well, or maybe you just jump on it right by the end of the platform. But what I'm saying is there's a chance, however small it might be, that you might be able to just ride the garbage train all the way home.
Yeah. I guess. But there wouldn't be a list of stops. You wouldn't know where to get off.
Yeah, you would. You just
You
look at the
wouldn't.
signs.
I would.
I would look at the signs.
Why don't you look at the street signs when you're on the
I
bus?
try to, but it's hard sometimes. Sometimes the bus is going too fast and the windows are too tinted, so nobody can see me mooning. I can't see what the signs say.
Well, I bet something happens with that garbage car that like we're not thinking of. That's like horrible.
That like once it gets in the tunnel, like the compactor turns on. Or in the tunnel, there's like a trap door that the garbage just gets dumped down into. Maybe. Look, I've never done it. I've never even really come close, but I'm just saying you think about it. You consider the options when you're desperate. Now,
and you're defining desperate as waiting for your train to come, which will probably be there in a couple minutes.
Well, that's why I thought 20 minutes ago. And now I thought this was the train. It's the garbage train.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking, well, what if I just pretend it's the train I was waiting for and just get on? And if they get me in trouble, I plead ignorance.
You might never be in that situation again, because think about what Cuomo did for the buses, revolutionized them. He's probably on the verge of revolutionizing.
Yeah, he's probably working
subways.
night and day figuring out how to make the subways better.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, I was going to ask you, I was like, do you think they have like a version of the garbage car in trains, but for buses? And I was just thinking of a garbage truck.
I don't like earlier when I said that there are some similarities between buses and trains. You went, "Oh, I knew you were gonna say that."
Yeah, because I knew, because you're like a shape guy. You look at the shape and you're like, about the same.
Also, you're saying a bus is more like a car than it is like a train. A bus can hold so many people, and it transports them from stop to stop. A train does the same thing. Public transportation.
What about a limousine? That's a kind of car. Can hold a lot of people. I had one for a prom night. We had a dozen people in there.
Don't you think we should just get rid of limos?
I think most people in
Nobody
recent...
serious is in a limo these days.
Yeah,
right?
I think most people in recent years have realized like limos aren't nice. Like I've never been in a nice limo. I mean, maybe it's just me. But like
it's a low class guy. You bring down every limo that you're in. Well, if I'm there, it's not going to be a nice place.
No, I'm just saying I've never been in a limo that seems like it's like a brand new luxurious limo.
Yeah.
Every limo I've ever been in has been like a little bit old, not like, holes in the seats and stuff. But I don't know, just not great. It is weird. Like I made that joke about getting a limo for the prom, but I do remember like hiring a limo for the prom, and you would
Sounds like it wasn't a joke at all.
You just go to like, I don't know, just like it seemed like it was just like guys that own limos, And it's like you go to their house and they have a limo out front and you're like, hey, I'm thinking about me and a bunch of other 17-year-olds renting this for the night and causing all kinds of problems for you.
And
what
he's
do you
like,
say?
yep, that's what I signed up for when I bought this thing.
That's my job.
That's my business model. That's how I make a living.
I drive teens to proms and then people to funerals. So that's what I do.
I think the limo business was really hit hard by like the luxury SUV, right? Like, cause like,
I was gonna say because
actual
they're
rich and famous people, like you can have a roomy SUV,
right? And if you're actually rich and famous, you don't want to be traveling with like a dozen people.
Yeah,
you're gonna be with, you know, one or two other people that you want to be
your
with.
bodyguard and your personal assistant.
Exactly.
That's what I travel everywhere with.
But I mean, like I've taken like Ubers and Lyfts and stuff that are SUVs, and like, yeah, it's way nicer. Like you sit in the back of an SUV and you're like, oh, there's like a regular seat. I don't feel like constricted in any way, where you do in a limousine. So yeah, I think that that's the case. And also, like, I don't know, if you're really rich, what's more impressive, having a limousine or like a caravan of SUVs?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you also don't have to talk to the help, right? Your entourage is there to do certain tasks.
Yeah.
Right. And you're in the catbird seat. You're in the nicest SUV.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's all decked out with everything you need.
Yeah.
And the rest of them, they're all going to the same place, but like they might be, you know, the cheaper models.
Right.
They don't have
that might be last year's SUV that you used to ride in.
Doesn't have a TV screen in it.
Although the one negative is that if you're in a luxury SUV and the driver's like, hey, so what do you do? Oh, you're a singer?
Can't roll up that
you can't
window.
go and just roll up the divider.
And then the driver goes like, good, typical. Or like, ooh, was it something I said?
Now, how do you know they say this? Because they're on the other side of the glass.
I've seen enough movies with 80s limos driving.
I thought you could read their lips. Tim, we would be remiss in an episode about buses where we mostly talked about limos and trains.
And garbage.
If we didn't mention the king of buses, the double decker. Yeah.
Sit on the top, sit on the bottom. They don't care. There's seats everywhere.
Yeah. They don't care, do they?
No.
Yeah. Free, if not necessarily a free country, but a free bus.
Mm-hmm.
As far, and you know, they might be missing a trick. You might be able to be like, you want to go sit up on top? That's an extra $1.
Yeah.
And guess what? I'd pay it. I wouldn't even know. In fact, I have a few times when we've been in London, there have been a man standing in the stairwell that's told me oi, it's an extra quid. And I'd be like, oh, all right, well.
One time,
when in Rome.
It's an extra quid. And then I said, oh, well, that's a good thing because it's scary up there. And then he says, oh, I meant it's an extra quid to stay on the safe bottom part.
And you were like, oh, well, I'll happily pay that. I don't want to go up there.
Sorry, I originally misunderstood.
You like sitting on the top of a double decker?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's fun, but I find it a little more nerve wracking because you've got further to go to get out. As I mentioned earlier, I'm very afraid of getting stuck on the bus.
Yeah.
You should have seen, Tim, you would have laughed your ass off. I was panicking. I was doing the like, hello, banging on the door. I have to get out. I have a podcast to record.
It's broad daylight in a neighborhood where you've lived for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not 10 years.
I could see the next bus stop.
Yeah. You just get out at any point. Even like before that, if you just walked up to the driver and was just like, I need to get out right here, he would have been like, all right.
Yeah.
Cool it. Keep your pants on.
Well, he did let me out, even though the bus was like already back in drive. He opened up the door like a true gentleman.
Wow.
Tim, I mentioned what I call double decker, the king of buses. Well, what about, I can't think of what I would call this. Maybe the queen of buses? A coach bus. The coach of buses.
A coach bus is all right.
A coach bus is the nicest. That's the way to go.
What do you mean? It's nice. It's the nice. It's like a Greyhound, but it's not. It's for hire, right?
Yeah, is my impression. Sometimes we would have coach buses when I played sports in high school because
man, you're really leaning on this high school sports career of yours.
Look,
no, we're all very impressed, Tom.
Sorry, I didn't take the pink bus to school every day. Sorry, I walked to school.
Yeah, you lived right around the corner from the school.
But so I'm just saying, most of my experiences with buses were field trips or more often sports. Sorry if that makes me a big jock, Tim, and that intimidates you.
A big hunky jock.
But sometimes we would have, because we went to like a small school and there weren't like enough other small schools around. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we would have to like go out to like freaking Montauk to play like another team that was the same size as us. So it'd be like
people don't know what Montauk is.
They know where Montauk is.
From Long Island.
They know Montauk's famous. It's all the way out east on Long Island. It's like a 3-hour drive
from where we were.
From where we were. Yeah, that's what. Not a 3-hour drive from where you are. I don't know where you are. 3-hour drive from where we were. So sometimes they would have a coach bus, I think, because like the school buses, I don't know, couldn't go that far or whatever. And boy, was that a treat to be on a coach bus. And then since then, I've taken coach buses to other places. Also, if I were a celebrity, I wouldn't necessarily have a entourage of SUVs. I'd have a nice coach bus.
Nice.
I'd have a motorhome. So I could have like a bedroom in the back.
Just have a tour bus. You left off tour buses, Tom.
How do you know I left it out?
Because we're at time. We got to end this.
Maybe I was going to save it for a real spicy treat after the plugs.
Oh, were you really going to do it?
If you like the show, stay tuned to see if I talk about tour buses after this part. Go to tcgt.com to find out more. You can sign up for our Patreon, patreon.com/complete guide, where we do books of podcasts. But this week, we're not doing books of podcasts. What are we doing this week, Tim?
We're doing news update.
We just finished reading. Well, I just finished reading If I Did It by O.J. Simpson. And O.J. has just recently done an interview out of nowhere. So we're going to be discussing that and other things.
We're not pro OJ on
no, but we're pro talking about them.
We're pro newsworthy events.
We're pro journalists. We're professional journalists. Patreon.com/complete guide to get all the back episodes too. Hey, we got a live show coming up in New York, October 5th. tcgt.com/live. It'll be live streamed as well. Check that out. Follow us on Twitter at Complete Guide. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Tom Reynolds.
Follow me at Your Pal Tim.
Follow us on Instagram at TCGTE. Tim, have you ever been on a tour bus?
Yes.
What was the situation? Oh, were you a groupie?
No, I wasn't a groupie.
I remember when you were following Bonnie Raitt around the country for a while.
I mean, that would be a cool. Bonnie Raitt's cool.
Yeah. You
don't think Bonnie Raitt's cool? You thought that was a lame musician that you were name checking.
No, I'm just trying to think of like, the role reversal where normally it's like aging male rock stars with young female groupies.
Right.
And I'm thinking like Bonnie Raitt's older than us.
Yeah.
I'm imagining like a naive 19-year-old Tim on Bonnie Raitt's tour bus.
What makes you think I was naive?
You're still naive. That's why. You're a naive 39-year-old man. You're a naive 20 years ago too. I've seen older female rock stars pull the wool all over your eyes more than once.
She's more of a blues woman, Tom.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I haven't been on like the Rolling Stones tour bus where it's like, really nice, but like I've seen like been a guest at a show to like hang out on the tour bus before the show, with like a moderately successful touring band. They're nice. They have little cubbies to sleep in, but it still seems like feel like you're sleeping in a coffin. I'm always just afraid that like it just doesn't seem safe to me.
Yeah, I've been on those buses too, and it's like, yeah, this is better than any kind of public transportation for the most part, but it's still not great. And like those little cubbies that you sleep in, you really don't want to do anything other than sleep in there. Like you really, there's like not enough room to like sit up even to like really like, oh, I'm going to like hang out and watch TV in there. You could do it, of course, but
sometimes there's like a back section where they have a Sega Dreamcast and they can play.
Now you're talking specifically about Bonnie Raitt's bus that she would use to lure teenage boys in the 90s into, oh, Sega Dreamcast, oh, Sonic 3. So you have the Sonic and Knuckles lock-on card and Sonic 3, Bonnie Raitt? Yeah, take a look back there. Hey, why don't you take off your shirt, relax a little bit.
See you next week.
That was a HeadGum podcast.